Okay, so feet together. Yeah, and then you think of the ankles here. So you're stimulating the kidney points. Yeah, so you just want the ankles to touch. And then the first thing you do is use the ha. Use the yawn, right? So the just like gasping for air, but really gently. Right? And that's the expansion. So and then let go, ha. Then the ha. And then slowly come up with that yawn. Yeah, feel from inside stretching, expanding, and down. So as you're stretching, when you come up, stretch from the inside. And as you're stretching, feel it pull the legs up so the heels have to come up. So you don't lift the heels by pushing. Lift the heels just because you're stretching and it's pulling the body up. And then drop the shoulders and gently guide that soap bubble down. And when you feel everything let go, then you start to rise. So just this first movement, you put a lot of skill into it. You put a lot of meaning, put a lot of skill, right? So the breath is important. Right? Breathing with that yawn, that. So only this. You want only this to move. You don't want to feel the shoulders move. Right? And then exhaling is the ha. Right? So and then letting go, ha. Right? And then breathing in, and then connecting way up in the sky. And dropping the shoulder blade, the elbows, letting everything go slowly, right? Folding. And when you feel everything release, then start to rise. And then we'll start again. So breathe in and let it go. So we're going to do a complete cycle. Yeah, feel the spine pulling you up. Slowly let everything go. Let all the joints go, the hip, the shoulders, the knees. When everything lets go, then rise. So when you rise, you can feel the palms just pressing against something, yeah? And it's not prescribed where it is. It's prescribed right now when this lets go. Right? And later on, you decide. So when you decide, like if you want to start rising from here, you want that full feeling, that inflated feeling, still has to let go before you transition. So you want that, you're practicing unlocking, you're practicing letting everything go, and then you transition. So in simple words, the transition is when you inhale, when you exhale, right? And then that times when you lift one foot and you transition, lift the other foot, transition, lift the other foot, right? And it's going to start sinking. But you listen for that transition, everything has to let go. If you don't let go, then you have that tension while you're trying to pick up the other leg. So you can feel, even if there's a little bit of listening here, that the joints all have to drop. And when the joints drop, then you can easily transition the movement. Yeah? So just in this opening, right, you make it skillful. It's teaching a lot. Right? So it starts off with the breath, and you have to let everything go. So, right, let everything go, and then start rising slowly. Feel the spine, the hip expanding, being pulled from above. And then right? Everything has to start letting go slowly, practicing slowly. When you feel like everything lets go, then you start rising using the palms, and timing the movement. And breathe in, push the knees back, and then right? Let everything go, and then come up. Think way up in the sky, and then start letting everything go to transition. Yeah, fold. When everything lets go, then the palms start supporting. Yeah, press the knees back, breathe in. One more time. Let go. When everything lets go, then you start rising. Shoulder blades, elbows. When everything lets go, right, then you start rising. Breathe in, and then So that last one, you practice just everything. Everything lets go. Yeah. So when we do it in this style, right? It's not exhale and then breathe in. We're exhaling. We're studying at such a level that each one is complete. In other words, and then breathe in. Right. So we add in that extra breath, and then at that end, right, pushing the knees back, because back here gets really stiff. So we add in all those little stretches. Right. So coming up, expanding, feeling from the center, right, expanding. And from inside you're expanding. So that's what pulls my heels up. Right? Because I'm being pulled, I'm stretching, I'm expanding. So I cannot stay down. Right? As opposed to lift your heels up. It's not calf raises. It's not pressing to lift the heels up. It's because, I'm being pulled. I can feel that stretch, right? It's pulling. And if you let go of your ankles, it's pulling. So my heels come up. Okay? And the last one you do, right? So you practice suddenly letting go. So during the movement, it's slowly letting go. Right? Studying that. Right? All the weight drops down, bottom of the feet totally relaxed. Right? You look how much I have to bend. Everybody's different. Where you feel like, okay, everything lets go, right? Relax, and then start again. So you finish the movement, and I've talked about this before, but now really studying when does that movement finish. You take your time, right? That's the other lesson. Let it go. Get rid of the anxiety, right? Listen. Right? Take your time. Don't rush. So slow movement is so you can study. Manmandi, we say Manmandi, Manlik. Slow power. Slow power is to study. That's what slow power is about. Manlik. Cantonese, Manlik. I'm assuming it's Cantonese. Because if I say Manlik, they're like, huh? Slow power, they'll say something else, yeah? So, one more time. Just this movement, right, is a whole study. It's a whole Qigong in itself. And to study at this level, it turns it from just warming up to Qigong to Neigong. Neigong is internal, like internal, right? So thinking, yeah. So one last time, right? Let it go. Feel everything let go before you start coming up. And just move at your own pace, right? Study. When you're ready to transition, you transition. Right? You have to start letting go before you can transition. And when everything lets go, then you start rising. Wherever that is for you. Breathe in, push the knees back. Let everything go. Feel the shoulders letting go, and then you rise. We just do two. When everything release and stretch, then let go. Rise when you're ready. And breathe in, and this one, that dynamic letting go. Yeah. Okay. Right. So let's have a nice small group and come up with this. And we started this the other week. I think we started it in this class. I think I get all mixed up, but it's coming out to this fall prevention exercise. Yeah, and it's starting to make sense. And as I take it to different groups, I get different responses and different things. Yeah. Okay. So I've always said, in general, we're not walking, we're falling, right? Because we don't walk like this, yeah? So Tai Chi, what they like to call Tai Chi walk, right? All balance, find the ground, and then you can shift your weight. But that's not how we walk. We walk like this. We throw ourselves forward, so we're actually falling. Right? So if everybody were walking and just walking, and I say stop, right? Everybody would probably fall because everybody would be like, okay. So the Tai Chi walk itself, just to look at that, is about, right, committing, right, all your balance here and not changing the balance until you find the ground, and not changing the balance until you relax, and then you shift the weight forward, right? So that's calming and letting go, right? Because we're always rushing, right? Because our mind is the intent. The intent is not to be here, right? The intent is not to be here. The intent is we're trying to get over there. So that's part of E. That's part of intent. But because we're trying to get there, right, we automatically, boom. So it makes sense because the Qigong says you start with the E, the intent, the Qi follows the E, and the blood follows the Qi. So if our intent is to go forward, right, already the Qi is going there, already the blood is pulling us, the physical. So then the leg has to catch up. So you have to bring your mind down to here. I want to get there, but the intent has to be sync and stabilize. Okay, so we talked about this. If we fold forward and I shift, right, I can get all of this to empty into here. So this is like 100, 0. But to get this to release, you have to relax and you have to let it turn. And when you let it turn, then you can feel the heel picking up. Right? So if you fold and shift, we can get 100 and we can, right? So this can be 0 pounds, but it's not pulling. But as soon as you relax and let it turn, and letting it turn, you feel everything empty, then that heel picks up, right? Then we have that momentum. Yeah? And then you can feel the muscle change. Right? Instead of one mass, right? Just one strength, the whole leg, you can feel right in the center start to get strong. Okay? And the other thing I want you to realize is when you do that, right? This is folding more. This folds a little bit because it's sinking, but you're not doing this. So when you say, oh, I cannot go that low, it's over here that's folding. So the butt is getting lower, but this joint is just relaxing. So you have to let it turn. Okay. So in this fall prevention exercise coming up is it's about learning how to fall properly, how to catch yourself. So that's what this drill is about. So the first part is you have to let go, right? So that's built into just this. So it's you breathe in and and you have to feel that weight drop to the bottom of your feet. It said, and even this, it said dropping that bag of rice, that 25, 50 pound bag, and it just goes thud. Right? There's a little vibration, but it doesn't bounce. So you don't want to go down and then tense and push. Right? So that first part, let it go. Just, okay. So to help you get there, I realize, right, with the feet are flat on the ground, it can be hard to feel. So you pick up, right? It's built into this, right? So you come up and then, because we got to make everything large and concrete, right? So you pick up the heel, breathe in, and okay. So by picking up the heel and dropping, right, you can feel that real concrete thud, right? Yeah. So that's the large movement. So you start off, right? Just pick up the heel a little bit, and just drop. And you have to let everything go. Yeah. Tip of the tongue on the roof of the mouth. We still want to practice those things. And why tip of the tongue on the roof of the mouth? Energetic purposes. But what's the practical in fall prevention? You don't want to bite your tongue, right? Yeah. So some people have habit, the tongue sticks out. So in fighting, we learn to keep the tongue in, because if you stick the tongue out and you fighting, I have moves, right, where you hit people uppercut, right? If your tongue is sticking out, you cut off your tongue. So if you're falling and you're yelling, and as we get seniors, you notice seniors, as we dehydrate, so you have to develop that habit, right? So tip of the tongue on the roof of the mouth helps to teach us that habit, physically keeping the tongue behind you. So there's a practical reason. Right? So anyway, coming back to this, right? Breathe in and and in the beginning, you might have to kind of throw your body down, throw the shoulders down, right? Throw the hip down. Yeah. So it has to just be let go. Like pull the pin out. Yeah. Now, when you finish the move, relax. If you had to relax, that shows you didn't let everything go, yeah? So you want to get to it that when you're done, right, and you say, oh, relax a little bit more, you barely move, or you don't move at all. We want to let everything go on this first move. Just, and drop. So you have to extinguish that fight or flight desire to catch yourself. Right? And that doesn't make sense at first. If I fall in, I got to catch myself. You got to get rid of that need to catch yourself. And you're going to replace it with a proper movement, right? That will catch yourself. So mentally, you have to change that. So from here, right, you have to let go. So just let the upper body, yeah, and then open your feet. Yeah. So for this one, we don't want to be here. Yeah. You want to be about shoulder width, not more than shoulder width. Yeah. So let your whole upper body feel all the joints, feel all the muscles let go, and before you get up, see if you can relax anymore. Yeah. Yeah. So you have that bounce. You want to get rid of that bounce. Just want to. So it doesn't have to be so hard. We don't want it so impact to cause pain, but we want the concrete impact so that when our feet are flat here, we understand what it feels like. Right? That just. The only thing we're missing is because the heels aren't up. But when we're walking, one leg is going to be up, right? So you get comfortable dropping that leg down, feeling that impact, and understanding like what's too hard and what's not too hard. Yeah? So this is the first stage, right? Yes.
Question.
Yes.
So when you do the is it almost like a sit down kind of, or because it's not a forward thing, huh?
So yeah, we want it's literally dropping a heavy bag on the ground. It just goes thud, right? So the center has to come straight down, but you have to let go. So it requires the joint to fold, right? So you let the upper body relax here to learn. Because this movement, this forward drop of the head and the neck is going to compensate for the hip going, the glutes, the butt going out. Right? If the butt doesn't go out and I lean forward, yeah. But if the butt goes out, but I try to keep the center, that doesn't work. But if I relax and I listen to where the center is here, right? If I go like this, then I can keep it. Right now, I can feel I'm holding here. I have to just let that go. Yeah. So the spine, everything just lets go. Right? Because any resistance is keeping some of your body weight up in the air. And any resistance, that flexing, right, is pushing against the ground. So when we jump up in the air, right, when we bounce, what happens? Right? It's because we're resisting the ground, right? we're actually pushing against the ground. That's what's going to make us fall. But if we allow ourselves to actually fall, but in this controlled manner, then we're okay. So I'm learning to keep my weight right in the center where I'm stable, even if my body looks like this. Yeah. As opposed to if you lean forward, you can be here. So, and this is another important part of the practice is you lean, you're studying that feeling of imbalance, right? So that you know where your perfect balance is. And you have to finish the move, let go, so you can feel everything sink. So you're training to just drop everything down. Yeah. So if leaning, right? Leaning really isn't a good term. Angling, right, is relative, right? So the angle of my joint, right, where it's relative, balance from here. Okay. So this is first. Right? Let go and then relax. Right? I could have gone lower. Now if I relax, yeah. So you can see what is required to totally let go. Then it's one step, right? Then in one step you've dropped to center. You're stable. But if you have to go, and you're fighting and again, right? You're tripping, you don't have time to relax again. That second step, you're falling already. So, yeah. So allow this to fold, allow the upper body just to relax. So that need to catch yourself, right? That's what you have to extinguish. So if you're like this, right? It's because you're trying to catch yourself, relax. So that's where I want to be on the first move. Okay. So first is concrete, right? So dropping the heel down helps you to feel that thud. Okay? So then the next step would be keeping the feet flat, right? And then breathing in and getting to the same place. But now the foot is flat on the ground. Right? Okay. We always talk about looking forward, right? But if you look straight forward, can you see your feet? If you're falling, you need to scan right in front of you, right? And you need to look forward, right? You need to have, your vision now has to be like this. When we're walking forward, your vision can be here because you've already seen this ahead of time. But when we're falling, we got to check. So allowing the upper body to go 45, right? Now I can scan, I can just see my toes and I can still see ahead of me. Right? So all we're doing is we're taking that field of vision like this. Okay? So the neck has to allow you to do this. If you're going like this, that creates tension, you're pulling this up, right? And that creates tension, that's going to point you towards the falling side, right? So breathe in, relax, using the yawn, yeah. Okay? So once you do like this, right? Then this you feel it more, feet flat, yeah, just. And like I said in the beginning, you might have to like physically throw your shoulders down. Don't lift your shoulders up, but from here, throw it down, yeah, just to help you. Yeah, but be careful you don't lift it up first. It has to be from here. So that's why the yawn is important though. Like the gasp, yeah, because then you feel this expand, not this. So, right? So you're trying to make it as sudden and don't bounce back up right away. Just right? Finish the move, study. Did you let everything go? Yeah. Okay. Right. So, okay. So that's the first two stages, right? Learning how to unlock, learning how to let go. That's the first lesson. Breathe, let go. Right. Don't hold the air in. Let go. Right. Learning wise. Right? You got to empty out everything so you can absorb everything that's offered to you. right? You go to the buffet, we talk about the buffet, right? You go to the buffet and you didn't empty out before. Oh, you only have 50% capacity. You already lost money, right? Okay, I'll just take it home. We don't allow takeouts. It's a buffet. Right? And then if you have small capacity and you empty, oh, you already lost money before you even made the reservation. Right? So you train for capacity and then you got to let everything go. And now you can. Right? Okay, so okay, now when you start breathing in, right? Expand here, but relax when you breathe in. Right? So the third stage is don't even stretch this back, right? Because when you're walking, you're not stretching, right? You're just walking. Joints are naturally bent, right? You're walking. So just from relax, get that weight to drop. Yeah. So the more I do this, I realize there's more steps in between. Yeah? And every step is important. So as I discover more steps, you complete that step rather than trying to practice the ending, you get a better result because if you do the ending, you're not ready. You're going to fall. Right? So, let go. Make sure you let go. So you can train yourself. Maybe take a breath. Yeah, let go. Yeah. Study. You try to make a short drop. Relax. Yeah. So in the beginning, you got to make a big drop. Yeah. To find where is that height where you let everything go. Remember, this is catching yourself when you fall. Right? Ideally, we don't want to fall. But if you trip, and I admit this, right? Every day I'm rushing. Right? Every day I'm running out the front door, running down, right? I have to step down the step. I have to take a left turn, run down 3 steps, all on concrete, then turn, then navigate all my junk. Right? So every so often, like, oh, and I'm wearing slippers. That's how we are, right? Okay, so the first large step, learn how to let go and drop. Right? And all these little steps in between lessons to help you to get there, right? So concrete, right? So you can feel that thud. You want to feel that thud, right? This has to let go. Okay? So what's the next step, right? If I'm here, I'm not falling, right? But it's the letting go. So the next step is the stepping forward. Okay? So the next step is this. But to get to there, just practice stepping and So just step. So because I'm doing this, I am kind of throwing my body forward, right? And that's just because that's what we do, right? So the first step, and you do left and right legs. So you take a step and now drop. So it's sort of like this stage, right? Heel up and learning to feel that drop. When you step in, the heel is off the ground, right? So you want to relax here, but right? So while you same thing. Now, if you tend to walk narrow when you drop, you're going to feel it. Yeah, you kind of like this. So if you're feeling like, oh, you're wobbly, that means you need to make sure you take a little wider step. Right? You want that same stability that you end up with here, you want to end up here. Okay? And my weight, you notice my weight is in the front. This has to fold. Yeah. So both feet. Right? Learning to step straight up. My habit, automatically when I'm watching what everybody's doing and what I'm doing, I also have to think my training. So yeah, we learn to step like this. Formally, we learn to turn this in, to step like this. So I notice when I step up, my foot automatically turns in a little bit. I don't know about yours. Right? Where if you don't have that training, your foot might be straight or your foot might be out, yeah? So you try that, right? If you step straight and drop, what does that feel like? If you step out and drop. What does that feel like? It's kind of like, whoa, it's pulling you, right? If you step a little bit in and drop, what does that feel like?
That's more
Stable, yeah? But to have that habit, you have to train. We train like this, but the rationale had nothing to do with fall prevention. It had to do with self-defense and fighting. So that was ours, but it's like, wait a minute. That the mechanics of why it works, right? Depends on what your object is. So, yeah. So, if it's in, right, it has multiple purposes. It's just a matter of the reasoning we give you, yeah, the intent. So, now, and you have to be careful with this. Right? So, if you look at this line, that you're still walking straight, but it just naturally turns in, as opposed to doing this, yeah, like, yeah, we're not stepping sideways, yeah. So to develop that, you actually have to walk slow, and you can put like a tape on the ground, right? So you can see where the leg is stepping straight up, but it just kind of naturally turns in, right here. So it pivots in, yeah, it rotates in. It does it. It's not doing this. Okay. But that's a small thing, because if I come here, but I look like this, right? I'm facing this way, it's still turned in, it's relative. Yeah. Yeah. But what I'm cautioning about is that you're not stepping in and making your stance narrow. That's what you don't want, right? Then it's unstable. So, right? So from dropping straight down to stepping out, it's same, right? Let your weight drop on the front leg and relax the back leg. You watch my back leg. The back leg is relaxed. So, so I'm letting go of the tension in the back leg. Yeah, you have to let that tension go. That's going to become really important in the next step. So drop down straight, right? Go through all those steps, and then practice stepping and dropping. Yeah. And there's I should have brought something. I'm looking for something I can drop on the ground. So when you go home and practice, yeah. You go home and practice these things, make sure it's a safe area, right? If you need something to grab, right? Start off small, right? Cushions, carpet, right? But eventually this is going to be where you're carrying something, and the first lesson is you gotta let go, right? So you practice carrying something where you don't care about letting go, right? A cushion or something light, and then heavier and heavier, right? Because you're carrying your groceries, you got your monthly or your bi-monthly check, right? And you went, I'm gonna buy all my groceries, right, for the month, and like right? Which is more valuable, your monthly groceries or your health?
That's a
right?
good point.
Yeah, so it's a balance, right? Oh, you came from the auction. Oh, I got that antique worth $3,000. Which is more valuable? Yeah. So you have to practice finding out which is more valuable first, right? But you want to get to a point, right? So that's the first thing, you got to let go. But you want to get to a point, if your technique is good, right, where you just, right, you don't have to let go. Look how relaxed it is. But in the beginning, because we have that need to catch ourselves and save everything, right? Yeah. So you're going to start with something you don't care to practice, and then, right, heavier and the value. And then you're going to end up with what's the most important thing that you're not going to let go. Hopefully everybody will say, life, baby, right? not antique, right? So the last toy right, is the baby doll, right? So but at that point, right, you relax, but you have to practice it and you have to think, oh, real baby doll, because you're going to feel yourself, the anxiety, right? So you have to practice each one until you get that anxiety out, until it's just relaxed. And when you're relaxed, then it's oh, if I don't tense, I can naturally save what I have. I'll naturally create it to me, right? And then as you're playing, like, oh, this position doesn't help me. I should hold the baby like this, right? This is the safe position. Or if I do it like this and I drop the baby, oh, the back of the head's going to bounce. If I do it like this and I fall, I'm going to smash them, right? You're just going to figure out like, oh, if I do it like this, I can feel all the weight right in my own center of balance. Yeah? From there. So all these stages. But anyway, right? So it's here. So you can practice standing, right? Let it go. Stepping, let it go, right? You have to practice that. When I was talking to my Tuesday night class, I started with that. The whole class was this because they went, and all these experiences came up. Right? And they're talking about how things were in slow motion. I said, yeah. And you can remember these things decades later in slow motion. Yeah? You practice it, it becomes slow motion because you get rid of that anxiety. When I injured my shoulder, I dropped on the ground. I did the move wrong. Instead of slapping here, the shoulder fell. And this was over 10 years ago. A long time ago because I was still active. And to this day, I can still feel, oh, that's not good. I can play the whole thing out like this speed, but in reality, it was like, pah, and jump back up. And to this day, I can feel that joint in there going, and thinking, that's not good. And 2 days later, when it started to hurt, that memory popped up. Yeah, but that's because, right, you're practicing, and you realize, oh, I did it wrong. That wasn't ideal. Yeah. So you practice your ideal, you recognize what's not the ideal. Okay. All right. So dropping here, right? Taking the step, dropping. Taking the step, dropping. Okay. Taking the step, dropping. Okay. So straight, then step and drop. Okay. So then the next large step. Okay. Again, we have to let go. We have to extinguish the need to catch ourselves. So the next step is you have to confront that panic. Okay? So you lean until you have to step. Okay? You lean and then you have to step. And you listen to that feeling where you have to step, yeah? And if it's not panic, then that means you could lean a little longer. Yeah. Yeah. Okay? And you see how the body reacts. Okay? So the body, so you're catching yourself. Okay? So if you cannot extinguish that to relax here, then you have to go back to just, right? And then you add the lean. Okay? And then remember I told you the back leg has to be relaxed. Okay? So what happened when you stepped, right? It was like this, right? You didn't let go, and the back leg got stuck. Right? So if the back leg got stuck, right? You didn't just trip once, right? Now you're tripping again because it's stuck, right? You cannot release. So in the Sun set that we do, the Tai Chi for Health fall prevention, right? One of the big fall preventions is what they just call follow step, which is just a shuffle. So when you're falling, that you want that leg to come with you. So you gotta release, and that's why I said when you just do this step, right? This careful. Yeah.
That's what I learned. Gotta learn.
Right. So when you just do this step, right? Relax the back leg because you want it to here. So you can add the follow step. You can purposely practice. So we could take it back to the second step, right? Where just dropping, follow step, right? Drop, follow step, yeah. Follow step, yeah, yeah. And then when you follow step, let this down, let the heel down. Yes, so you step up, follow step, and the follow step, the shuffle, is basically a toe to heel. Somewhere toe to heel overlaps. Yeah. I'm not going to tell you like it has to be this, right? You're going to feel it. It's stability. If it's not up to the heel, you can feel like, oh, too much here. If it's too past, you might be centered, yeah, but you don't have a wider base, right? A little bit more solid. You're falling, right? So you want that wider, more solid stability base, but not so wide that you cannot keep on walking. Right? So walking, right? We want that feeling, right? So you have to practice follow step, right? So purposely practice follow step until it becomes, right? See, this is releasing already. Yeah. Yeah. So teach yourself that follow step. Yeah. So follow step. Yeah. And then relax. Finish the move, sink. Yeah. Relax. Left and right follow step. So I'm still going down. Okay? Everything's still going down. Right? Right? Collapsing. Okay? And that's the other thing is this idea of collapse. So you're going to collapse straight down. And so that's where you're going to be able to catch yourself. Okay? All right. So the first big stage, right, from standing, right, and then to learn that we add heel up, and then we go back. Right? Then the second stage, step, let go. Yeah? And then we can add step, follow step. We can start introducing the follow step, the shuffle. Okay? And then the third stage, leaning to understand that feeling of falling, right? Follow step. Yeah, bring in the follow step. Okay? And then do it safely. So small, short lean. And then when you're comfortable, like I got it, right? And make sure your area is clear, right? Then you can go like last minute, last second, right? And you notice if you go last second, the step becomes bigger. Why? Because I'm throwing this way out there. So the stability is, right, I'm getting this leg, right, over my sternum, over my heart sternum area. That's where the center of balance is. Yeah. Yeah. So you got to start off small and relax the. Yeah. So don't rush into where you're like just anxious and you cannot relax, right? Smaller. Train. So, and then in between, right, carrying stuff. And so the stage, right, so this stage, right, has a lot of stages, right? You cannot get out of that lean until that follow step comes in. Yeah, you want that follow, you don't want that, right? Because then you're still holding, you're still trying to save yourself. You gotta trust the letting go that's going to save yourself. So from here, right? Like, oh, okay. Yeah. Right? That's a big stutter, right? If I really, but that's really how we trip. Yeah. Why? Because we're not standing and tripping, right? We're like, oh. Exactly. Yeah, we have momentum. So we have transfer of energy, right? So this is mechanics, it's physics. So when you can do this, right, then it's just walking and shuffling. Okay? So these are stages. The stage is not done. Right? So I'm putting this all on for this video so you can look at it. Right? So then the next stage, right, is not stopping. Stopping is to study and relax and give you the option like, oh, I caught everything, right? If I'm carrying something like, Is everything safe? Right? If I carry the baby, is the baby safe? Right? Oh, is my $5,000 antique safe? Right? Is everything? Did I not spill the hot soup? Right? You carry hot food. You have to really think, right? Can I drop it and spill hot liquid all over the place? Is it in glass? Is it something that's going to break and shatter? Or do I need to balance it, right? Because I cannot afford the damage that a hot liquid or hot food will cause, right? So those are decisions hopefully we make before we carry, like, if I trip, well, I better not trip, right? I better just relax and be more comfortable. I better not trip. That's prevention, okay? So really what we want to get to is, right, this leg releases, doesn't stop here, but then it goes straight into recovery, right? So it's, oh, nothing to see. Oh, nothing to see.
You're doing that, that's why.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But if we never practice it and never conscious, yeah. So that last stage, that last big stage, right? These are not absolute, right? You can see you got to have all small little things. If you cannot figure it out, you got to go back to the previous and you got to break it down, right? Like, why is it, right? But that last stage is like, oh, and keep on walking, okay? And to get to that stage, it's a whole discussion. This is a big area. It's a really big skill, okay? Because we're practicing, right, from standing, right? Right? So the interesting thing that came up is the student, one of the students said, "Oh, my we just came back from a trip. We were walking. My partner was rolling the luggage, right? Just rolling the luggage on one side, right? The handle with the wheels, and he tripped. And he tripped, and he went, and then she panicked. She's like, "Oh my God!" He just kept on running, and he was heading straight for a wall, and he stopped himself before the wall. So I had to stop and analyze that, and like, oh, what would you do, right? They come to me, what would you do? What you do? So I have to look at that, and you realize, right? There's momentum, and probably leaning, right? Even if it's up, even if they look upright, there's a lean in there, and then when they trip, you're accelerating. Right? The bag, even though it's on a handle, that's transfer of energy, right? That bag has energy, and if you don't let go of that bag, right? So you're trying to stabilize the bag. You're in an airport, you have to decide, can I let go of the bag, or the bag actually helping me to stabilize, right? I can use it like a ballast, right? That's decision, right? You're not carrying it here, but it's still attached to you, right? So, like if you had child, you think really carefully, right? If you had a child and you tripped, at what point do you force the child to fall with you, or do you kind of let go, right? Let go and buffer them. Right? So basically going like this, and then when I simulated it, I realized, oh, they're doing this. He's going like this, right? He's running. Okay. So, yeah.
No, you're true. That is so true. I'm laughing not at you, but I'm laughing because that happened to me.
Yeah.
I went down, and my body went lean over, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I knew it. As soon as this leg went up, I did like a 50-yard dash. It just a momentum, right, and I was going into the neighbor's yard, but I have a steps with a pipe. As soon as I seen a good thing, good eye, but as soon as I seen my steps, I would grab my steps, the pipe part, and I would just swing like round.
Yeah, the momentum, right? You're using that like a brake.
Mary! And I got up and I dropped my bag, and God, but see, the thing about it, what happened so fast, because here's the steps. So when I came down, I would lean over one step, So I seen the step, but I couldn't. My mind went, "What the hell?" Right? I couldn't think like relax. I just went, "What the hell?" And then so this went up, and then all of a sudden, boom! And I was going like.
Yes. So everything is avoidance, right? everything is catching yourself.
Yeah.
Avoidance, which is saying we got to let go of that.
But that's
right?
good because
Yeah.
I guess I gotta go and practice it. But
So-
that's good to remember.
Yeah.
The part you just
So let me explain what happened. Right? When you look at, see, I almost tripped it. I tell you every day. Right? So when you're coming, right, it sounds like, oh, I'm just gonna keep running, right, and then I'll be okay. But ideally, what do we want to do? We want to slow down and stop, be able to stop. But when we keep on running and we're pounding the ground, right, we're pounding with, it's very energetic, right? So instead of releasing energy and stopping, we're generating energy, right? And pounding on the ground rebounds. So we cannot stop. So when we do that, you cannot stop. Because you actually, even though your mind is saying, I'm going to do this to save myself and stop, right? You actually running, right? So when you're doing this, right, I'm making myself faster. I'm generating more energy. So how can I stop? Right? I have to let go. Right? So the first lesson, you let go of everything, it stops. Right? It stabilizes, it stops. So when we looked at how do you stop, right? You come here instead of, right? It's letting go, and you have to pick up the leg. You do have to pick it up. Practical, like if there's stuff, right, you got to get it out of the way. But when you pick up the leg and relax, you're releasing energy. Right? Instead of like pounding it, right? Or you're generating, and then you're bouncing up, and then you compensate by doing the same thing with the other. You're just going and going, creating momentum instead of letting it go. So it's the relax, right? Pick it up, right? Yeah. So I don't know if you feel safe doing something like that here, right? You don't want to pound, but so the slow practice is just, walk, right? And then stand up. But you see how I pick up the leg? Yeah, pick up the knee. So you can practice this slow, right? So from here, right? And the follow step, right? Just keep walking. So that next stage is lean, follow step, but just walk and stand. That you can probably practice.
Yeah. The instinct also is to kind of just put your hands out to kind of brace yourself. Right?
So this fall prevention practice is about changing that instinct. Okay? So the instinct is fight or flight. That's what they teach.
Right.
Fight or flight is this. Okay? So when you go like this, if I'm falling like this, everything's exposed, right?
Right.
Everything's exposed. And I treated somebody like that. Top to bottom, had bruises here, had damage, right? Had broken bones. I said, what happened? I tripped on uneven sidewalk in Chinatown. And I'm thinking, like, what? And then, right, that's the lesson, like, you splay. So fight or flight is like here, right? This is the natural reaction. You stiffen, this is going to go up, right? It's going to shatter all the way up. You're going to stiffen, you hit the ground, impact, it's going to shatter. There's no release of energy. Right? But if you crumple, right? And this goes back to the bird, right? If I crumple, as soon as you let go, right? You're letting that energy roll out of your body, right? And then you drop straight down. Right? And then the last thing that would hit is your head. But because you crumple and relax, right? You could come here. If you cannot get up, then you could roll down, right? And wait for help. So you might get damage here, you might get here. And the interesting thing is that every time I teach this, a few weeks later or something comes, I fell. And I'm like, oh my God, right? I'm teaching fall prevention, you fell. But the reaction, and that's what happened here last week, somebody in this class. Yeah, right? Because, oh, I'm so grateful that you taught that stuff because it would have been worse. Like, because they relaxed, right? They knew it would have been worse. It's interesting. Everybody else says, oh, you know, and they're like, no, right? And then I think you said you bounced up, right? Oh no. Oh yeah, that's right. You got, yeah, and yeah, you have fracture, yeah. 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 And the worst part in the fall prevention, in the fall, is to break the hip, break the leg and the hip. So what the statistics show, Hawaii and all over, right, for seniors, at a certain point, when you break the hip, right, because it affects your mobility, right, you don't go out, right? You don't exercise, you don't socialize, right? Into depression. At that age where it's important for us to move, right? We're not moving. And all these things are important to maintain our health, yeah? But that broken hip leads to death indirectly because all of that activity stops, all the socialization stops, yeah? And then you're at that age where like, give up, right? You know, we all encounter that. You know, I lived a good life. What for, right? You know, I signed the hospice papers now. You're not ready for it. Just sign it now, right? The family is like, now the family got to let go, right? Yeah. So the idea is to mitigate and minimize the amount of damage. The ideal is you never fall. But if you fall, right, like I said, right, I'm walking back and I'm going like this. If you fall, you have training to calm yourself down to minimize the damage, right? So my idea is that if you fall, you don't fall forward, you don't roll. I won't teach that. I will teach this. Yeah. If you can drop, I will teach this. So my ideal, how we learned, and we didn't learn it for fall prevention, we learned it for self-defense and such, but we learned. Yeah. I'm sitting on it. We train to sit on the heel so the knee doesn't go down. We're training toe to heel. Right? We're training underarm to shoulder width, right? So that's built into hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, right? And we train to fold, let everything go, and we can bounce back up. But that came from self-defense training. But now I realize, right? Once I get off, the Kung Fu is not about fighting, it's about health and surviving and living. That's what it's doing for me, right? That's the fall prevention. Not because I train so hard Kung Fu and martial arts, it's because I'm training how to drop down and so even if you don't do this, right? Maybe one knee, right? But when this comes, right? You see how it does this or here, and because I'm crumpled, right? I'm not paw, right? I might still brace, but look at the impact from here to the impact from here, right? And then I can ease myself down. Yeah. So to get there, right, it's the crumpling straight down. So for the seniors, it's like, oh, I cannot do that. Right? Whoop, 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 whoop. So I'll just see. You didn't wait for the next. I'll just go. Yeah, he was practicing. But how to practice this? Yeah, it has to be safe. So don't those. Yeah, he was. So don't practice it here. Because let me explain how to practice it. Right? If the young kids, yeah.
Yeah, there's other see things like, to tell you the truth, just recently I came down a plank and I'm thinking like, okay, my mind said, the black strips, the whole shoe.
Oh yeah.
The black strips came off. My feet went forward.
Oh.
I was trying to hold back. This feet went down like that, and I did one cheerleader spread. Oh, I was like halfway out. I was going like, but when I came down, I came down this way. But I know to come down forearm, but I kind of went hit my elbow too, yeah. But it didn't hurt that day, like you said. The next day was terrible.
Oh yeah.
But you know what? I still got out and I said, man, I gotta do it.
The second day is worse.
Yeah.
The second, third day, yeah, because it builds in. Yeah, you have to get it treated. That's a whole another thing.
You know, Randy, you're talking about kind of like crumbling or actually relaxing the body.
Yeah.
First time my mother fell, she was in her 90s, and it was in the shower.
Yeah.
It was in the shower. But I think she's a hula dancer, right? And she just kind of went down.
Yeah.
And she didn't have any injuries. Any injuries whatsoever. We were like,
yeah, so you can see how that works, how that can help.
We said to the doctor, we said, oh my gosh, she had no injuries.
Yeah.
This happened twice, 2 different times. And we said, I think because she's a hula dancer, she knows how to just go down really, just go down.
The shower is scary because it's slippery and enclosed space and everything.
But both times she was in her 90s. It was just remarkable. And then, she had therapy. They gave, and then they stopped the therapy. They said, you know what, she doesn't need it after 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So she's so
just kind of reset. Yeah.
She's so when they did the various kinds of things, she's so agile from.
Yeah. Okay, so let me just finish this up. You want to practice crumpling, you got to have safe area. So if you need cane, walker, those walkers, are excellent. Like I have one at home, and because I can stand inside and practice and have brace. I can stand outside and practice and brace. Can use chair. But you cannot do this now. I'm just going to show you what you need to do. So from home, yes, you can sit down. You're making me nervous. Because I'm only going to demo.
The other thing is I'm telling him, wearing these kinds of slippers, especially when he's walking.
Yeah.
It's so scary.
So that's her. 2 things, right? We're in Hawaii, right? We don't give up our slippers, right? Learning to pick up the feet, right? Okay. And number 2, when the slippers break and the tread starts flopping, either fix that tread, but don't wear flopping treads, right? How many are guilty of that? Right? We're all guilty, just step higher, right? Step higher, throw the flopping tread forward, and then step. That's Hawaii, right? Oh, I don't have time to go to Lounge to buy the $1 slipper. I can do it. Oh, the thong broke. Don't worry. I'm going to smash it with my toe, right? It's true, right? This is Hawaii. So, gotta let go, right? What's the first lesson? Breathe and let go. So anyway, you want to practice crumpling, right? You have, you make a safe environment, but you get a nice thick cushion, like your couch cushions, so that you can drop on the couch cushion. Right? So I'm going to stand right over here, and the method is like this, right? Learning to step back a little. Right? So it's about right, width of underarm to width of shoulder, stepping back, right? Already I'm crumpling, stepping back, and ideally sitting on the heel. So if I have a nice big thick cushion, right? If I fall, right, I'm falling on the cushion. My knee is on the cushion. Yeah. And right, this comes out at an angle, right? I don't want it tight like this because now I'm narrow. You're going to feel it, right? So relax, right? So you want to drop, right? Hands like this, right? Crumpling. If the further back this goes, then the knee is going to come down. Right? Forward, then it's up. right? It's a flexibility exercise and a squat. So somewhere right about heel to toe, right? Right, I can catch myself. But yeah, do it at home if you have carpet, carpet, right? Clear the area that if you roll back, right, you can have cushions and things, right? Have something you can put down. So and it's not even, you don't even have to be 100 years old to say, oh, it's not good for you to practice this, right? It's what shape your body is in. So if you cannot go all the way down, your condition is, hey, I cannot go all the way down here, right? So I'm not going to do that exercise. Right? It's whatever you can do. Right? It's going back to, you can still practice stepping back. Right? You can still practice that step forward. Right? Right? The difficult questions became, oh, I fell backwards. Oh yeah, that becomes hard, right? So you fall backwards, right? You have to step back, right? And you have to throw your body forward. And you got to get that center balance again, right? Because if you're like this, it becomes the same thing like running forward, right? So if you're falling backwards, oh, you have to relax, right? Crumple. And when I crumple, then my body can come forward. But if I cannot get this, right, then I'm going to go back. And the fear, there's a lot of fear now, right? That fear that I have to catch myself because you cannot see. Yeah. So we tend to kind of do the same thing, yeah? If I run faster, I can get my legs under me. I had martial art experience where somebody did, I wanted to feel their power. And I just went flying back. It was a transfer of a tremendous amount of energy. I realized there was no way I could get my feet back, okay? Because even if I got my foot under, that momentum and energy was still throwing me back. But because it was a demo, it was a demonstration, it was a controlled situation, I knew the area was clear, and I knew he had put people behind me. And with my knowledge of other stories, I knew that I had to just crumple and I had to just let that energy roll out of me. And even if they weren't there, if I knew the area was clear, I would have just done the same thing and I just would have let myself roll. Just protect my hand and just let myself roll so that energy would roll out. Because I knew as long as I did this, right, I'm holding that energy and I'm holding that force, and it's just carrying me, right? It's like you have something on the roof. You drive on the freeway and you get out of the car and like, how the heck did my coffee cup survive on the roof of the car? Right? It ramped up slow enough, right? Had enough friction, and then the transfer of energy, 50, 60 miles an hour, transferred to the cup, so the cup's moving. Yeah? But if you stop one time, the cup still has 50 miles an hour. Right? But if you could just kind of release that energy from the cup would stop. Yeah. So falling backwards, right? Same thing, you have to crumple. Right? You have to crumple, and if you have to go down on the ground, right? But you have to crumple. Going downstairs, that's something, that's almost out of the league of what I'm discovering right now, right? Because, it's close to like, oh, good luck. Right? Because stairs are scary. So stairs is all this training and prevention. Stairs is like not falling with every step. Stairs is like, right, stepping. So when you say stepping, right, finding the ground and then transferring. So upright, practicing upright. Probably the thing with stairs is just walking stairs in an upright position, and training becomes a training. Yeah? Use the rails, right? Take your time. Turn your body sideways. Walk like a crab if you have to.
Yeah.
You know, that's because that's like saying, oh, what if they push you out of the plane? How am I going to stop that fall? Good luck, right? Pretend you're in terminal velocity movie and you can fly. So stairs, of course, is scary, right? And that's really out of my league. But it's the same thing. It's relaxing, because if you relax, right, then you start to let go of that energy to slow the momentum down, and then maybe you can start carefully stopping yourself, braking, right, or putting yourself in a position. You know, you got to be careful, right? You jam to stop, you might break your leg, right? Because the rest of your body has that momentum, and you jamming this, that joint, you're still going to twist. But all I would say is, yeah, just kind of make sure you protect your head. Learn to protect your head. Okay? All right. So,
Going downstairs.
yeah.
I don't feel as steady now going downstairs, especially when it's dark.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing. Like our hallway, I notice at night I got stuff on the side, right? So, but during the daytime, if the light's on, no problem, right? It's all psychological. Right? 'Cause you only need as much space as you need, right? But psychological goes like this. Right? When the light goes off, psychological is, oh, I have to be really careful, right? I have to catch myself. So I start tensing and I start walking the tightrope in the same place. I feel myself, oh. And so now I'm telling myself, okay, that's my training, right? The lights off, walk normally, right? Walk normally, right? I know where everything is. I got enough light. Or I need another night light. Yeah, so fall prevention goes into a whole area of, you know, bars, what to do, just the physical environment. And then, yeah. Okay, so going back, yeah, it's, right? You got to practice letting go. Right? Everything. Feel that thumb. Right? Then practice stepping. Right? Right? And then practice leaning with the follow step. Right? And then increasing where, right, you're two things, or maybe more than two things, but you're practicing the follow step, we're continuing letting it go, right? Letting go of that anxiety to have to catch and save yourself. Okay? But recognizing, oh, right, turning that, oh, from panic and anxiety to, oh, I better step, yeah? So the more you do it, you don't want to get there where you have to, right? You want to recognize, oh, I'm going to fall. Right? I better stop this, right? I'm out of bed, I better stop this right away. But if you get into that position, you've got some training behind it. Because it will happen, right? It just happens. Anytime we're rushing, right? Yeah. You babysitting, right? Our 6-year-old, right, is still egocentric, right? She still doesn't understand, right? The road is here, the sidewalk. Just stop here and check, right? And that full awareness, not only your awareness, but make sure you made them aware, right? And I'm at the stage now where I'll wait. Okay? Instead of, I know I can make it across the street and create anxiety for me and the driver, right? I'll just wait. What for, right? I'm realizing, oh, I could have saved 2 seconds. Right? So now it's like, wait, right? But the granddaughter, right? I'm always watching her, so I have to stop her. Right? She comes out, she's playing, right? Oh, there's anxiety, like, stop. Yeah. So maybe you are in control. See, the two kung fu guys almost fall down, right? Maybe you're in control, but your environment that you're stuck to is not in control, right? And it forces you. Right? Your baby runs across the street. What you gonna do? You're gonna run across the street, right? You're like, there's times where you don't think, right? You sacrifice yourself, right? Depending on what it is. So you got to train, right? And get used to that. Right? The hip hop guys, right? They don't fall too much because they practice loose, right? certain ones, right? Those artists, right? The contortionist artists, they probably don't fall and trip too much. They might trip, but they probably don't fall because they just from there, right? So just start off, right? And right? And all the same. And don't lift. So when you breathe, use the yawn. Use the yawn. Yeah, open the mouth and go. Yeah, see when you do that, this doesn't lift, yeah. So if this doesn't lift, then you've already taken off one step. Because if it lifts, then you got to bring it back down. So you just want to learn to drop. Wherever you are, just drop. Yeah, just drop until it becomes drop. Okay? And then we go back to look at the set. Right? So this becomes a set, right? We're practicing all of these things, letting go, breathing, right? Slowly letting go, studying, and then, right? And then listening like, I could have let go a little bit more, right? So we get to the point where you can let go in walking, but you realize at this height, you haven't really let go. It has to be lower to 100% let go, where the whole body is resting. That at a certain angle, right, to open this, right, this is closed. Right? So to open it past that right degree angle, you have to push. Right? You have to push. You have to open this. So it takes a minute, even if you can relax and zoom, you still have to expand the muscle to prevent this from here. When you go into the right degree, everything can just rest. Yeah. It's still some muscle to hold this, but it releases. Yeah. So there's a lot of mechanics, a lot of physics in this. Okay? All right. So let's end with standing. We used all this time. Yeah. So feet together. Relax. Use the yawn. Feel yourself expanding from inside, stretching, and slowly letting go. Every joint. And you feel like everything's let go, then you start rising. And you're just going to do one time, so breathe in. Okay. You shift to your right, turn. Let this turn and shift your weight until you feel the left heel starting to pick up. And as you pick it up, relax. And just a small step to open. And then come back, rise. Push the knees back. Okay. Shift to your left and turn. Okay, bring the hands up. And just holding the soap bubble. And as you bring it in, turn some more. So your right foot releases. And then just take a step forward to the side. And then turn. Right? And you're letting go of everything. So the hands have to drop down. When you feel the back leg release, then you use your hands to pick that up. Yeah. And step. And then shift to that leg. Use your hands. Use your hands. Right? Turn, learn to turn. You pick it up. Right? It helps to pick up the leg, like pulling up a syringe, and step. Right? The hands help to guide you over. Turn. Right? As it releases, the hands release. And then have it pull the leg up to step. Yeah? Shift. Right? Practice folding, let it turn. That heel picks up. Right? Yeah, and step. So, in this walking, right, you gently listening to your palms. Right? Your palms are like pulling a syringe, the plunger. Right? So, just here, right, guiding. Right? It's like a string, like a puppet. puppet string, right? Helping to sync it as you fold, then everything releases, right? Let it go, then you can pick up, and then the palm can help to guide, right? Sync, you shift, right? Let it turn, let it fold, then the back, release the back leg. Right? And be aware that, right, we're also practicing releasing the back leg. Right? So this skill comes into the follow step. Right? Yeah. But let it turn, let it fold. And feel the hand. Let go of the shoulder. Feel the hand. Right? Drawing and down. Right? It's like you're doing the magic act, right? The hand, right? The hand is doing everything. Yeah. Yeah. You connect the hand with the leg, connect the hand with the whole body. If you don't use the hand, right, you can feel the upper body get really relaxed, but doesn't have that full feeling. Yeah? But if you let go, right, oh, still relaxed, but it starts to activate. Right? And then if you stretch the fingers, then it's like turning on the compressor and the whole body starts filling up. If you relax the shoulder and the elbow, you realize you don't need that to manipulate. Yeah. See? You see how Budgie you're starting to do this? That's the wave clouds. And then you see the ball coming out? So you could hold the ball. Right? Hold the ball. Right? Turn the ball however you want. Right? Yeah. You see how the movement comes out? What were we doing? You have to let this fold. You have to let go. Oh, all of a sudden, all the hand movements come out. Y'all get your certificate. You can all go make your own Tai Chi style. Just name it with your last name. Oh. Okay, so yeah, it's amazing. This is so important. Learning this joint, letting it go, letting it fold, right, is so important to everything, all the movements. Yeah? All right, last time, come up. Yeah. Okay, right hand, left hand. Okay, yeah. Even this looks nicer, more relaxed now. Yeah. All right, loosen this up, and then hi, and then we'll just end with the bell meditation. Because if we don't end with the bell meditation, like, oh, I carried those heavy brass bowls for nothing. Okay, extend the legs. Yeah, just walk back. Yeah, so Hanakia, if you folks want to share this video and like make something out of it, yeah. Okay, slowly open your eyes, rub your hands, yeah. Warm up your eyes, yeah. Brush your scalp. Yeah. So no matter what the context, right, all the same skills, Right? Doesn't matter if it's just for health, for fall prevention, for self-defense, for fighting, for dance, right? All the same. It's all the same. Just said each context is going to emphasize a little bit more of this, a little bit more of that, but you still got to have everything to be complete. Yeah. Have a nice day. Don't fall. Awareness really is number one. Yeah, same thing. No matter what the context. Yeah, awareness. Yeah, awareness is probably the biggest prevention for everything. Yeah.
Thank you.